All right. This is 9 questions that will make up the bulk of your final test before break. I know we're not done the chapter yet, but if I don't get an assessment into you before break, I know what it's like coming back from break and you forget everything you have done previous to this day. So we're going to do a little test. These are your 9 types of questions we'll have. So press pause, try the questions, press unpause, and listen to the answer, see if you're correct. Our first question, if I can get to it, says negative 4x equals 3/8. Since this is your coefficient, you're going to divide both sides by negative 4 to isolate your x. When we look at the other side, I'm having a fraction divided by a whole number. The easiest way is to keep your fraction and multiply by the reciprocal of the whole number, or the flip, since 4 is 4 over 1, the reciprocal is that. And your final answer is negative 3, 30 seconds. Your second question, we actually have a two-step algebraic equation. Now, normally we have our variable up top and our denominator is a number. But in this particular one, we're putting a variable in the bottom, and our first step is to multiply both sides by x. Negative 5 will therefore equal 3.8x, or 3.8 multiplied by x. And the next step is to divide both sides by 3.8. And x will equal 5 divided by 3.8. 5 divided by 3.8, which equals, 1, ooh, that didn't work out so well. 1.3157893684210. Oh boy, that's a tough one. It's a number. I don't even, 5, what do we want to put there for that? We want to put, let's put 1 point, approximately 1.3. Oh, sorry, wrong button. There's my next button. Our next button, we're going to subtract 3.5 from both sides to get rid of the constant. X divided by 1.8 equals negative 10. Multiply both sides by 1.8. Don't need a calculator because when you multiply by 10, you move the decimal. So the answer is negative 18. Our next question, fractional constants and fractional coefficients. Process is the same. Opposite operation to the constant, 3/4 of x is equal to common denominator of 20. It's 5/20. Now remember, instead of writing 5/20 blindly, why don't you just think about that in lowest terms, which is actually, in lowest terms, a quarter. That's what I'm going to write down. You could write down 5/20, but silly people do that. Then you're going to divide both sides by the coefficient, which in this case is 3/4. Dividing by 3/4 is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. When you multiply that out, you get 4/12, or in lowest terms, x equals 1/3. Our next question looks complicated, but it's not so bad. Constant's 1.5, so you're going to subtract 1.5 from both sides. Once your constant's gone, you have negative 3.25x is equal to. Now this is the trick question. What's 5 1/8 take away 1.5? That's a grade 7 question. Convert them to improper fractions. Convert them to improper fractions that have common denominators, which will be 12. When you subtract that, you get 29/8. I think 29/8. Then you're going to divide both sides by the coefficient, which is negative 3.25, to isolate your variable. Dividing by negative 3.25 is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Now remember, the reciprocal of 3.25 is negative 13/4. So therefore, the reciprocal is negative 4/13, right? Because you got to think of it as multiplication by the reciprocal. Oh, this looks complicated. Multiply, well, cross reduce first. I'm going to go negative 2 over, or sorry, negative 1 over 2. Oopsie daisy. Negative 1 over 2, which means your final answer is negative 29/26, which is negative 1 and 3/26 in lowest terms. If you didn't cross reduce, you ended up getting 80, 29 times 4, a big number. Something that was complicated. You didn't want it. Our next question, if I can get there, is a distributive property question. There's 2 ways you could solve it. You could expand, or if you wanted to, you could divide both sides by 3. Oh, come on now. I'm going to expand this and go 17.4 plus 3x equals negative 2.7. I'm going to subtract 17.25 from both sides. 3x is equal to 1920.1. Uh-oh, this doesn't feel good. I think I might have made a mistake here. 17.4, 3x, no, that's right. Subtract 17.4 is negative 19. Yeah, that's still right. Uh-oh. Grab your calculator and say, what is it? 20.1 divided by 3. Oh, it's not so bad. X equals, oh, this is negative 3. Negative 6.3. I guess, oh, no, I didn't say that, sorry. What did I say? 6 point. Board is having a hard time. 6.7, sorry, 6.7. This is exciting. Our next question is a fractional question. Now remember this, you could do one of two things. You could multiply both sides by 3 first if you wanted to. Not a problem. But remember, when you have equations that have fractions, if you multiply both sides by a common multiple of the denominators, in this case, the first common multiple 3 and 6 share is the number 6. So if you multiply both sides by 6, you will maintain equality and you will get rid of all the fractions. So with that said, let's multiply this side by 6 and multiply this side by 6. Keep them equivalent, cross reduce. You're going to end up with 5 on that side. Over here, 6 over 3 reduces to 2 over 1. Now look here, I'm going to multiply a binomial by a monomial, which requires distributive properties. So the monomial multiplied by the binomial. Doesn't matter the order in which we multiply, it's the same. Then we're simply going to divide both sides by 2. 2.5 is equal to x minus 4. Actually, I should have it as a fraction, but that's okay. Add 4 to both sides. 6.5. 6.5 is equal to x. And that's your final answer. An equilateral triangle has a perimeter of 17.85 meters. So let's make an equilateral triangle. Perimeter equals 17.85. The side length is 2x minus 0.5. What is the value of x? So the perimeter of an equilateral triangle is 3 multiplied by the side length. The perimeter given is equal to 3 multiplied by the side length, which is given. So when we substitute, that's what we get. One of two ways, we can divide both sides by 3 to figure out the length of one side if we know the perimeter, or we could expand using the distributive property. I'm going to divide both sides by 3 to get this is equal to, and then 17.85 divided by 3 equals 5.95. So therefore, 5.95 is equal to 2x minus 0.5. Add 0.5 to both sides. You get 6.45 is equal to 2x when you add 0.5 to both sides. And divide both sides by 2. And x will equal 3.275. Let me just, oh, I better take my calculator. My brain's not working. 6.45 divided by 2. Okay, there we go. So I'm glad I did that. 3.225 equals x. And our last question, hopefully, maybe. Brian's hair product is on sale for 55 cents off. You buy 6 bottles. What's the cost of the original? So x is going to be the original price. Since Brian took that original price and subtracted 55 cents from each bottle with that coupon, and he bought 6 bottles, that's what it looks like. And the price he paid was $8.70. That's our equation. Smart people will divide both sides by 6. And when you do so, you get the cost of one bottle is equal to 870 divided by 6. 870 divided by 6, which is $1.45. Right. sorry, $1.45 over here. So Brian paid $1.45 each, but if he put back on the coupon that he used, the cost of one bottle of Brian's hair product was $2 to begin with.